Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Daily Practice with me, Nikhil, where mindfulness meets real world. So, today's episode is a special one. We're diving into something everyone wants, but few people understand, and that's happiness. So, we're not just going to talk about happiness like a motivational poster, which we get all over the internet, so there's no shortage of them. But we are going to go a little deeper. I'm going to walk you through 10 questions and 10 of the most common and misunderstood questions about happiness. Questions we all wrestle with, often silently, and we'll decode them together with honesty, insight, and a little bit of breathing room to pause and feel. So, you might hear something you already know, but also you might want to keep yourself open to what arises within you. And I am guaranteeing you will hear something differently, more usefully, more truthfully. So let's begin. So, the first question I want us to look at is, what is happiness really? We throw this word around all the time. I just want to be happy. But have we ever stopped and asked ourselves what that actually means? Most of us confuse happiness with pleasure or with excitement or with winning at life. But based on something called the self-determination theory, is actually about well-being. And well-being includes things like purpose, connection, self-direction, meaning. So I want you to think about this question. What is happiness really? And when in your life did you feel quietly fulfilled? Even if things didn't look perfect. And that could be a real definition of happiness. Just pause and feel here right now. Again, in this session, there will not be any answers. Answers will come from within. So these are just questions for us to explore. So I want you to ask this again. When in your life did you feel quietly fulfilled? Even if things weren't perfect. And that might be your definition of happiness. Pause and feel. Question 2. Does happiness come from the outside or inside? We live in a world that's always selling us something: a better job, a different body, a dream vacation. And do not get me wrong, some of those things are good, but everything shows that they only account for a small portion of our overall happiness. In fact, about 10%. That's it. So, where does the rest come from? It comes from a lot from genetics, a lot from what you have inherited. But there's a lot, around 40%, is from your perspective, your ability to be here now without judgment. That's the secret nobody is selling because it cannot be packaged. The ability to be here now without judgment is where happiness comes from. So ask yourself, what's one inner habit you have practiced this year that's brought you real peace? And then that gives you a clue of what happiness means. Or does it come from outside or inside? And it is often from the inside. The other question we get is, Can money buy happiness? So if we are struggling in paying rent, feeding family, or needing the money to live, yes, that impacts happiness. So money is a necessity. So some people say that money is the evil of everything. I disagree. And I think it's important to have a good relationship with money as well. Having said that, but apparently there is a baseline number, and this is a wonderful number. It says $75,000 because it's done in the US. I think it'll be equating to something like, it depends on different countries, but in the US it says $75,000 per year is what baseline is required for us to be taken care of with all the basic needs. And anything more seems to not increase happiness, actually increase stress, problems, insecurities, anxieties, etc. So instead of how much is is the question on happiness is how we use the money. Instead of how much money, we ask ourselves, how am I using money? What are we spending on? What is generous spending? What is experiences? What is time? What is the impact on buying stuff, etc.? So these are questions we have to ask in order to really explore happiness, because money is, resources are part of happiness. If we are not taken care of in our most basic needs, then yes, happiness is not available for us yet. So, when was the last time maybe you ask yourself, you spent money in a way that created a memory and not just a moment? And that can be clues in how we relate to money. And it's very important to have a great relationship with money. Question 4. Why do good things stop making us happy after a while? The technical term is known as hedonic adaptation. We get used to things quickly. The new car smells fades so quickly. The promotions become normal. The spark wears off. The new house becomes old in a matter of years. And it's not our fault. It's our brain trying to conserve energy by normalizing change. Because if it spends too much energy every time it sees the same thing again and again, it is then spending less energy on noticing the surroundings for growth, transformation, scarcity, abundance. It's looking at the environment for our survival. So when we are in an environment, not just a physical environment, but even a mental environment, we get used to it. So even if it is something which is stopping us moving forward, we get adapted to it. We just get that is familiar. That pain from just sulking or talking bad about other people is is familiar, so that is who I am, is kind of this hedonic adaptation. Or going to work out when you are anxious is an hedonic adaptation. It is basically saying, and when this happens, I go do this, and then more and more you do it, the more and more that becomes familiar, and when you stop doing it, you start to feel the anxiety. But here's something which we need to know. You can slow this down through practicing mindfulness and gratitude and learning to savor this moment. So, what's one thing in your life you dreamed of that you now take for granted? Maybe the clue is in the room with you right now. Just like take a look around, and you might see a lot of things which you felt so grateful for when you got it, but now it is just gathering dust, metaphorically, figuratively, and literally in front of you. And you haven't paid attention to that thing in a while. So, can you honor it again? That's the question. Question 5. Do I have to be positive all the time to be happy? No, absolutely no. So the short answer is no, long answer is absolutely not. The idea of staying positive at all costs has created a whole genre of toxic positivity where we guilt ourselves for feeling down. And what is important is to understand emotional flexibility, the ability to feel your full range of emotions leads to better health, and actually the ability to feel pain, anger, suffering, disgust, sadness can enhance your happiness. And I'll say that again. The ability to feel anger, disgust, sadness, sorrow, all of these quote unquote negative traits, negative emotions can improve our happiness. But the key in noticing these emotions is the length or the duration for which you are upset slash disgusted, angry, and how best you can come back to the baseline of your happiness. And that is the key. That is why we practice mindfulness. Is that moment when you notice your anger is here, and now we just notice it, and we simply come back to the breath, to the body, and without trying to push it away. The closer we come back to the baseline, the more happiness we have. And mindfulness teaches us to notice without judgment, to be the sky, not the weather. So, what emotion are you resisting today? What would happen if you let air into that? If you let it breathe, if you let it transform, what happens? So, question 6 again, is happiness, chasing happiness, or being happy selfish? Many of us were taught to be happy is to be self indulgent. And you know what? The opposite is more true. What happens when a group of people who are happy, you join the group of people, you become happy? What happens when there's a group of people who are sad and you join the group of people, you become sad? So, studies have shown over and over again people with higher well being are more generous, more compassionate, and more engaged in helping others. Because when you are resourced, you have something to give. So, yeah, so chasing happiness, is it selfish? Who benefits when you are well rested, grounded, and joyful? Who benefits? So that's the question I want you to just take a note of what comes up. Again, none of these have answers. So if you've joined here to find the one and only one stop shop to learn happiness and everything about it, then this might not be the right place. But if you're here to understand happiness and what it means for you, this is exactly the right place. So you are going to come up with all the answers for yourself. So, can I be happy? Next question. Can I be happy while I'm struggling? Now, this one is a bit tricky. I think happiness and suffering cannot coexist. It's more like a antagonist partnership. So imagine if you are going through some grief. It's heavy, yes, but sometimes there's love in it. There's beauty in it. There's presence. So the idea that happiness and suffering can't coexist is kind of not true. You can be in a hard chapter of your life and still have a moment to laugh. You can still notice a wonderful sunset, sunrise. You can still hold hands. So, the idea of happiness during difficulty is not the pleasure aspect, it is the mindset, it is the practice, it is the being, it is the state of your personality, more so than any joy or pleasure that comes up. So, the underlying state is happiness, and in that place, in that pond, there is many ripples of other emotions and feelings that come up. So that's the idea of having happiness as your baseline. And the word happy can be a bit difficult to understand because we have been trained to think happy as something smiley, something always laughing and always joyful. But happiness equates to equanimity, in my opinion. So that's what we are trying to cultivate. Equanimity is a longer word, so I think people use happiness, and it's a bit more difficult to define. But happiness people understand. So when we talk about happiness, we are generally talking about peace and equanimity. So, is there peace and equanimity right now that exists alongside your pain? And if so, we can tap into that. If so, we are, in one sense, happy. Question 8. Why doesn't chasing happiness or going after happiness work? Why doesn't it work? The chase implies something really interesting. Chase means that we are coming from a place of, oh, I don't have this, I need this. It's a lack mentality, it's a scarcity mentality. I'll be happy when I get that promotion. I'll be happy when I have a child. I'll be happy when I get that thing. I'll be happy when I have £1,000,000 in my account. I'll be happy when I am with my friends. And this game you can play forever. So instead of thinking of it as something you lack, why not reframe to think that you are already happy? Instead of chasing, try to create space for stillness, for noticing, for allowing. And the real gold is from presence. And in that presence, you are cultivating true happiness for yourself. And what that means is you are already happy. And now, from that place of sufficient happiness or self sufficient happiness or unconditional happiness from yourself, please chase the things you want to chase. Not from a feeling that, oh, I'll be happy when I get this, but I am happy and I am going to chase this no matter what. Or I am happy and I will pursue this. I am happy in the place I am right now, and this is something I will gain further knowledge from. So ask yourself, when was the last time you felt happy without trying to? What allowed it? Maybe just take a real brief moment. Like, when was the last time you felt happy without trying to be happy? So the next question, question 9. What role do relationships play in happiness? As you can imagine, it plays an amazing role. It is one of the major reasons for happiness. And the Harvard study of adult development suggests that good relationships, not money, not fame, are the biggest predictor of long term happiness. Not perfect relationship, but safe, honest ones. So, who makes you feel seen even when you are not performing at your best, for example? And how can you nurture that? That is the question. What is a relationship for you? Relationship is something that keeps your consciousness in alignment with your true self. Somebody who can help that is your relationship. And I know there are people out there who are not right for you and you are not able to move away from them right now, but that's okay too. Those are the relationships which you know is not working and you have a plan for it. And you have a plan for it because you have other people around you who are able to help you. And that's how relationships try to work for your happiness. So, last question. Very easy question. How do I live a happy life? In 8 simple steps. This is what we do. We break down happiness, decoded it into just 8 things. If you do these 8 things, you'll be happy for the rest of your life. Do you want to know that? So here's what everyone has to say about this. First thing, be present. Presence, awareness is the most important currency we have. It's not money, it's not about relationships or the number of people with you. It's your awareness, it's your attention. So be present with yourself. Second thing, be kind. Practice kindness with yourself and others. The more we practice kindness, the more we show up for ourselves as our full self. And in turn, we show up for the rest of the world as our full self. Third, be connected. Connected with others, connected with yourself, connected with the things around you, connected with nature, connected with technology, connected with everything you have in front of you, which you are grateful for. Fourth, very important, do what matters for you. What doesn't matter? What matters for you? What are the things you are working on? Do them. 5, move your body. Very simple. 6, sleep well. Very, very simple. Unfortunately, we have sacrificed sleep for other ungainly things, and that has had a toll on our civilization, on our life on this planet. So I invite you to take control of your sleep again. 7, say thank you a lot. Thank you and mean it. Thank you to yourself, thank you to others. And then finally, if you find some nice comedians, laugh often. These are the 8 things you just need to do. Be present, be kind, be connected, do what matters, move your body, sleep well, say thank you, laugh often. You do these 8 things, I guarantee you'll find happiness. So, it is simple, not always easy, but doable though. All of these things are doable. So, what's one small happiness practice you can choose today? Not for results, but for practice. Think about it. So let's take a moment to close this practice with a small meditation. Call this joy in this breath. Sit comfortably or lie down. Close your eyes if that feels safe. And simply feel this breath. Breathe in slowly, hold gently, and release with ease. Feel the air on your skin, the quiet around you, or the noise. That's okay too. Notice what's here, not what should be here, not what was, just what is. And ask yourself this simple question: what if happiness is already here? Just smaller and softer than I expected. Stay here in silence for a few breaths. Let joy rise, not as a peak, but as a presence. Are you able to hear the happiness around you? Are you able to see the happiness around you? Are you able to feel the happiness around you? Are you able to notice the happiness within you? For the next few breaths, just simply let joy rise just by being present, just by being connected, just by being kind, just by doing what matters. And when you're ready, slowly open your eyes, smile, not because you have to, but because you're allowed to. And this is happiness. So thank you for being here today. And if this landed for you, pause and take a moment and let it land in you first. And then I invite you to share your comments and thoughts about this practice. And if you want more of these conversations, join me again on the daily practice with Nikhil. Until then, breathe, notice, stay kind. You don't have to be happy. You are already happy. Thank you.